Hey guys, it's Nick, and it's February 19th, another political report today. It is a big day in the Democratic primary process. It is the Nevada debate hosted by NBC tonight. And it is a big debate because for the first time, you're going to see a new face on the stage, and his name is Mike Bloomberg. He's been really rising in the polls the last couple of weeks, polling for a lot of polls behind Bernie Sanders. And it's really unique. He hasn't been able to qualify for previous debates because in previous debates, there was a lot of different standards to meet the debate criteria. You not only had to have national polling averages, but you also had to have an individual donor threshold. And it's unique that Mike Bloomberg was not able to meet those thresholds because he self-funds his own campaign, which means pretty much he is like the 9th or 10th richest person in the world. So he takes no contributions from single online donors. So he was not able to qualify for any of the debates before, but he actually is able to qualify now because the DNC changed the rules because all of his competitors are complaining that he's pretty much running $300 to $400 million in Super Tuesday states, free advertising, pretty much talking about his campaign. And he hasn't really been challenged on any of his policies, which is finally going to come up tonight, which I think is going to be a really interesting thing. So Mike Bloomberg was the mayor of New York for over 12 years, and he has a lot of political baggage, you could say. And I think tonight's going to be really interesting because I think different politicians, Sanders from the far left and Biden, are going to come after him because he's rising in the polls dramatically, and no one's really questions his record. Obviously, the biggest thing people are wondering about is his stop and frisk policy in New York. A lot of like minorities and people of color see it as kind of like racial profiling because pretty much, in my understanding of the law, police officers could stop anyone suspicious and pat them down. And this was really affecting a lot of minority neighborhoods. So it was really affecting a lot of different types of minority groups. So that's a big thing he said. And he's also said a lot of like a lot of things that are very questionable about race and other things. So I think tonight he's going to be really challenged, which is going to be really unique because Sanders' whole campaign, you know how he rails against billionaires. So a lot of people in Sanders' camp feel that it's going to be Bloomberg will be a great foil for him, someone that he can contrast against and say Bloomberg's pretty much buying the election. Because I think up to this date, he's spent over almost $400 million on advertising, breaking the bank. I know it just in Texas here that you can literally not go watching TV for 5 minutes without seeing a Bloomberg ad. And it's actually really worked. Because in the last, I'd say the last couple of days, a lot of polls come out and he's literally passed Joe Biden for second place in the Democratic primary and is right on Bernie Sanders' heels. Sanders obviously is still doing really well because he has his big progressive base. So he's polling about like 31%, but Bloomberg is really on the rise. And especially in Super Tuesday states. So Super Tuesday states, there's about 12 to 15 states on March 3rd that will vote, which makes it a more national election. Right now, it's been a lot of caucuses in single individual states, which will continue to happen up till March. But which that means is Bloomberg has pretty much pumped a bunch of money into states where all these other candidates can't afford to put money because they're trying to win these first couple states. So Bloomberg got into the race really late. So he decided to skip the first 4 states, including the upcoming Nevada caucus this Saturday, which we're still 4 days out. And then next Saturday in South Carolina, which Joe Biden is that South Carolina he's depending on to win, or he probably might have to drop out of the race because he is having major problems fundraising. So Mike Bloomberg's been pumping a bunch of money into all these states, running advertisements, and it's actually been working. So I do have some polls for you, some Super Tuesday polls. So in the state of California, he's not beating Sanders right now. Sanders in most polls is up 25%. Bloomberg's at 21%, and Biden's at 15%. So California's a super rich delegate state, and he's really counting on getting a lot of delegates out there. He's been pumping a bunch of money in their last couple of weeks, and they vote on March